Tonight's headlines: missiles set up in anxious capital. Americans warned to take new threats seriously. CBS News learns of another bin Laden message threatening his own suicide attack. U.S. now has enough troops in place for Iraq war. Also tonight, Eye on America, a nationwide run on duct tape. But is there really anything you can do to prepare for a big terror attack? And the end is near in a trial that has many asking, can a jealous woman kill her husband and get away with it?
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. New layers of security were put in place today in America's big cities as the nation adjusts to the new realities of life under orange alert and the now ever-present threat of terror attack. More security in the air, on the streets, underground. And one day after Osama bin Laden called for suicide attacks against Americans, an ominous new propaganda audio tape has surfaced, purported again to carry the voice of Osama bin Laden, this time saying he is ready to become a martyr. CBS's Cheryl Atkinson in Washington begins our coverage of America on Guard.
This is the nation's capital under Code Orange. Avenger missiles rolled out on Humvees, Black Hawk helicopters overhead, all visible signs of heightened air defenses. Also visible, frazzled nerves. A suspicious package stopped traffic. Another temporarily emptied the subway.
I'm going to live my life, but I'm more careful and I'm more aware.
It's not just Washington that's anxiety struck, but two other cities involved in the 9/11 attacks. At Boston's Logan Airport, a baggage scare turned into nothing. Same with a suspicious truck in New York City that briefly shut down a bridge. But all that anxiety is with good reason, according to intelligence officials. CIA Director George Tenet told Congress today al-Qaeda may hit as early as this week. Multiple sources with strong al-Qaeda ties suggest the attack may use a radioactive dirty bomb, chemical or poison weapons. Tenet says yesterday's taped audio message attributed to bin Laden may also signal a strike is imminent.
What he said has often been followed by attacks, which I think corroborates everything that we're seeing in terms of raising the threat warning.
Outside the 9/11 cities, some are also taking precautions. At the airport in Minneapolis.
Looking for larger explosives in the 300 to 500 pound range.
And in Portland, Oregon.
I believe in being prepared for things.
But a source tells CBS News the Homeland Security Office is becoming increasingly concerned that most people outside the cities hit by September 11th are not taking the terror threat seriously. So the office is now said to be working on a plan to carry its message directly to the nation's heartland, warning anything can happen anywhere. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Washington.
As for the most wanted terrorist in the world, Osama bin Laden, CBS News has learned of yet another message, another threat purported to be from him. But where is bin Laden? Correspondent Jim Stewart has the latest on the hunt and this new tape.
If authentic, it would be the second audio tape of bin Laden's voice to surface in a week. This one is approximately 50 minutes long and is of exceptional audio quality. The Islamic news agency, which obtained it, quoted bin Laden predicting his own death, saying, "Surely this year I will lead my steed and hurl it and my soul at one of the targets, and I become a martyr." U.S. intelligence officials said they had heard of a second tape but could not confirm it was bin Laden's voice. Like a shorter tape released Tuesday, the longer one also appears to be intended as a morale booster for scattered al-Qaeda forces.
He's obviously raising the confidence of his people. He's obviously exhorting them to do more. And whether this is a signal of impending attack or not is something we're looking at.
Officials still aren't sure how bin Laden slipped away from the Tora Bora Mountains last year, but believe that ever since he's been in hiding with a small group of bodyguards and couriers along the Pakistan-Afghan border. Second in command, Ahmad Zawahiri, is also believed to be with him, while the top operational leader, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, is on his own and constantly on the move. Analysts said bin Laden's voice in both tapes sounded healthy, firm, and rested, but point out that for the third time since fighting in Afghanistan sent him running for his life, he chose an audio tape instead of a picture or video to communicate with the world. Why? Analysts suggest it's perhaps because he shaved his beard, cut his hair, or otherwise changed his appearance to avoid being recognized, or because he's wounded. He certainly has good reason to be cautious. 3 of his top lieutenants have already been captured, and a team of Army Special Operations Forces, CIA, and FBI agents has been steadily squeezing the area where he's believed to be hiding. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
President Bush has tried to link bin Laden to Iraq in an effort to win support for a new war against Saddam Hussein. And there was major movement today toward such a war, movement on both the military and diplomatic fronts. First, about diplomacy and the push for a new Security Council resolution, possibly next week. CBS's John Roberts at the White House has that part of the story. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Dan. Sources tell CBS News that the White House is working together with Britain on language for a very simple second resolution authorizing force against Iraq. And officials say negotiations with the Security Council will be short. Nothing like last fall's 7.5-week-long wrestling match.
The critical point will be Friday, when UN weapons inspectors report back to the Security Council. Today, they determined Iraq is in possession of illegal weapons, specifically a type of missile that exceeds the maximum allowable range. The White House has urged inspectors to present just the facts, claiming the facts will show Saddam is not disarming. And the U.S. is pressuring France and Germany to abandon their proposal to beef up inspections as an alternative to war.
The question I put to them is, why more inspectors and how much more time? Or are you just delaying for the sake of delaying in order to get Saddam Hussein off the hook and no disarmament?
France was ridiculed in Congress today for opposing military intervention when it was military action that saved France from the Nazi scourge. And together with Germany and Belgium, its continued blocking of NATO efforts to defend Turkey came in for particularly harsh treatment.
If it were not for the heroic efforts of our military, France, Germany, and Belgium today would be Soviet socialist republics. The failure of these states to honor their commitments is beneath contempt.
At this point, it's unlikely that France and Germany will introduce this proposal to the UN on Friday. So unless something else happens, the only decision that the Security Council may have to consider is whether or not the U.S. goes to war with the UN or without it. Dan?
John Roberts reporting live from the White House. While diplomats wrangle, the U.S. build-up for war is growing rapidly, with 40,000 more reservists activated this week. Some 150,000 are now on duty, the most since the 1991 Gulf War. And as CBS's David Martin reports tonight, the force already in striking distance of Iraq is considered to be at critical mass.
A couple thousand more Marines came ashore in Kuwait today as the number of troops positioned for an attack on Iraq climbed above 150,000. The number Pentagon officials have said would set the stage for an invasion decision by the president.
Senior officials say the president is not likely to make that decision for at least another 10 days. And the Pentagon is far from ready to open a northern front against Iraq.
Next Tuesday, the Turkish parliament is scheduled to approve the American request to bring in 40,000 troops. But then an enormous amount of equipment will have to be unloaded from ships and transported to the border with Iraq. Saddam Hussein could change all that if he suddenly launches chemical or biological weapons to disrupt the buildup. The head of the Defense Intelligence Agency is certain Saddam will use them. The only question is when.
He will, in fact, employ him, and the assessment is that he will employ him when he makes the decision that the regime is in jeopardy.
Even a gambler like Saddam must be feeling the heat by now. The U.S. dropped propaganda leaflets just 65 miles south of Baghdad today, and some of the anti-Saddam messages floating from the sky have started showing up in his own capital. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
The United Nations Nuclear Agency acknowledged today it has failed to persuade the North Koreans to stop their nuclear program. It sent the matter to the Security Council. In Washington, intelligence officials said North Korea has an untested missile that could deliver an atomic warhead to the western United States. And in South Korea, CBS's Barry Peterson reports there is fear this growing nuclear dispute could become the unthinkable, a nuclear war.
As protests grow against North Korea developing nuclear weapons, even its longtime ally China joined calls that the North abandon its nuclear ambitions. What the world wants is clear, but how to make the North do it is not so clear. One option, the UN Security Council could impose sanctions. But the North claims that would be an act of war. And UN sources tell CBS News that sanctions are not in the cards. They would be, quote, a bad idea. The Bush administration insists diplomacy linked to offers of aid is the answer. The Chinese said this week they want the U.S. to take the lead. That may be easier said than done.
There's no trust built between the two capitals. Mr. Bush has a very bad image of Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-il has a very bad image of Mr. Bush.
Another way, a preemptive strike on the North's nuclear facility may be the worst way. If the North retaliates, its artillery could kill 500,000 in Seoul alone, including many of the 37,000 U.S. troops based here.
The problem is time is running out. The North may or may not have nuclear weapons today, but experts say it could produce up to a half dozen in the next few months. And the North may be more than willing to sell some of those to the highest bidder, like a terrorist intent on hitting the United States.
Now, South Korean officials harbor a new fear, that the North is relishing the clout of being a nuclear power, and no matter what options are on the table, is no longer willing to stop its nuclear march forward. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Seoul.
Israel angrily recalled its ambassador to Belgium today after a ruling by the Belgian Supreme Court. The court rejected an attempt by Palestinians to bring Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon to trial for war crimes allegedly committed in Lebanon in 1982. But the court did not rule out trying Sharon after he leaves office. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America. The government says this duct tape can keep you safe in a terror attack. Can it really? Some answers next.
Looks like heartburn. Showtime!
Wait, look! They don't just have heartburn.
They also have pressure and bloating. That's gas.
Oh, no!
Sorry, guys. They need more than just heartburn relief. They need me! Hey, Maalox Max! When you have it all, treat it all! You bet. Fast heartburn relief plus strong gas relief. That's Maalox Max.
Thanks, Max.
Just doing my job. Maalox Max. When you have it all, treat it all.
Frustrated by itching and flaking? Get the power of 3. Unlike most other medicated shampoos, Neutrogena T-Gel works on all 3 itchy, flaky scalp conditions. Be confident with the one that works on all 3. #1 dermatologist recommended Neutrogena T-Gel.
I take care of myself. That's why I take my Oscal every day. It has the most concentrated form of calcium, so even though an Oscal tablet is smaller, it has about 60% more calcium than Citracal. Take good care of yourself. Don't take chances. Take Oscal.
What's this?
Breakfast.
It's kind of early, buddy.
You guys need to take some cholesterol off of you.
Honey, have you been reading the Cheerios box again?
I got that off the box.
Cheerios is still the only leading cold cereal clinically proven to reduce cholesterol to help your heart.
I was very thoughtful of you. Very early, but very thoughtful.
Cheerios, good for the heart.
At the count of 3, you're going to be a chicken. 1.
Is this dangerous?
No, you don't even need that insurance. 2.
What insurance?
If you're sick, you miss work, they pay you cash. 3. You're a chicken. Now, you're a duck.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Aflac!
Oh, hold on, Sparky. My back is aching.
Oh, my shoulder is sore.
When you need relief, try Bayer Extra Strength Back and Body. It soothes aching backs and sore muscles with the trusted strength of Bayer aspirin to work effectively at the site of pain, plus a special pain relief enhancer. Nothing works better than Bayer Back and Body. Not Advil, not Tylenol. Get moving again pain-free. Bayer Back and Body.
Tonight's Eye on America investigates the fear in this country of terror attacks. In a CBS News New York Times poll just out, 82% of Americans say they believe an attack is likely in the next few months. The government says there are several steps you can take to be prepared. CBS's Jim Axelrod looked into what they are and whether they're likely to work.
In Connecticut, Nona Snyder is following directions from Homeland Security to a T.
We're going to actually do this to the whole house.
Sealing her windows to protect against a biological attack.
So now if people are telling us, and warning us to take care of ourselves because this could be our lives, hello, we need to do it.
Blankets in the boots.
So's Mary Zarinko in New Jersey, packing survival bags for her family. Food, first aid, clothing, and something to pass the time.
I do a little knitting, so I threw my knitting in, and Tom reads a lot, so I took a book out.
At this hardware store in Atlanta, sales of duct tape are up 400%.
If that's safe, then sorry. I'm supposed to have batteries too?
And at this survival store in Manhattan, they've been selling 10 gas masks a day. This week, it's up to 400 a day.
Okay, your total is $1,000.
At $300 a pop. When you come into a store like this, there is no question about the urgency being felt across America. What there is a question about is whether arming Americans with duct tape and plastic sheeting will actually make a difference.
In most scenarios, the specific use of duct tape and plastic sheeting is probably not going to be effective.
Biological weapons expert Michael Moody says while everyone is running around getting all these survival items, there's one thing they can't lose: perspective on the threat.
It seems to me if people are worried about their personal security and personal health, the things that they should really be doing are stop smoking, wear their seatbelt, and not drink and drive.
Maybe so, but Nona Snyder's still playing it safe.
And maybe, people can criticize, but, if there's that inch of maybe, why not do it?
These days are less about pricing an ounce of prevention than being too late for a pound of cure. In New York, I'm Jim Axelrod for Eye on America.
In the Shuttle Columbia investigation, NASA today released an internal exchange of emails. A few days before the disaster, NASA solicited all kinds of scenarios about what damaged heat shield tiles might do to the shuttle's landing system. NASA engineer Robert Doherty emailed back a worst-case scenario that extreme heat on re-entry could cause, quote, much carnage in the wheel well, and adding, then you're in a world of hurt. There is serious new opposition to the Bush wartime tax cut plan. We'll have that story on the Market Watch when the CBS Evening News continues in a moment.
Tonight's Market Watch segment is sponsored by Mutual of Omaha, insurance and financial services.
Well, Walter always says home is where the heart is. And our hearts are right here.
I built this house.
I helped some.
I've been building homes for 20 years.
But when he got hurt on the job, he was out of work for almost a year.
I would have lost this house if it hadn't been for the disability insurance.
It's insurance that he didn't think that we needed.
She always brings that up.
Disability insurance from Mutual of Omaha isn't for getting hurt. It's for getting back on your feet. Begin today.
Introducing a new overnight laxative, Freelax. The use of stimulants that can disturb your system and cause cramps.
Freelax is different.
It's stimulant-free and cramp-free. It's new, different, it's Freelax.
It works overnight and no cramps. Freelax. We were out here trying to be the first women to trek across Antarctica when I hurt my shoulder.
For explorer Anne Bancroft, finding pain relief became a priority.
I talked to my doctor at base camp, and he prescribed Celebrex.
Celebrex targets a major source of acute pain. Celebrex helps provide strong pain relief. Ask your doctor about Celebrex. Check with your doctor before resuming activities. People with aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reactions due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines, or certain drugs called sulfonamides, should not take Celebrex. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems.
Who'd have thought something this small would turn out to be one of my most important pieces of equipment?
If you're experiencing acute pain, ask your doctor about Celebrex or call 1-888-CELEBREX.
Now, changing a hearing aid battery is this precise. With the Energizer Easy Change, the world's first hearing aid battery dispenser. You just turn and slide. A magnet holds the battery for precise placement every time, no matter the hearing aid style or battery size. And now, Energizer batteries have up to 15% longer life.
The
the scorching pain of heartburn. The difference you feel only with Gaviscon. It quickly forms a soothing protective barrier that helps keep acid down for hours. For the relief you need, feel the soothing power of Gaviscon.
Hot flashes. Women like Carla often have to live with them when hormone therapy isn't an option. Now there's hope. Health Watch tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
On the CBS Market Watch, war worries are again getting the blame for another down day on Wall Street. The Dow fell 85 points. The Nasdaq lost 16.5. The index is now at their lowest level since the fall. And about how to treat the ailing economy, CBS's Anthony Mason reports there is now a wide-open split between the President of the United States and the Chairman of the Federal Reserve.
Alan Greenspan's open distaste for big budget deficits could be bad news for the Bush tax cut plan.
Greenspan has dealt a very serious blow to President Bush's economic proposals.
In his 2 days of testimony on Capitol Hill, the Fed chairman did endorse a key point of the president's $674 billion tax cut package.
The elimination of the double taxation of dividends will be helpful to everybody.
But he also said the economy doesn't need stimulus now, and he warned budget deficits could spiral out of control, that by the next decade,
the ratio of debt to GDP begins to rise in a very worrisome manner.
For Democrats, Greenspan's words have quickly become a rallying cry.
I think he made the kiss of death for the plan that was offered.
The Fed chairman may not be the untouchable oracle of the economy he was a few years ago, but analysts say
Greenspan matters. He absolutely matters on Capitol Hill, in part because the Republican margin in the Senate is just 51 to 49, and there are 4 or 5 Republican votes that can be clearly influenced by what Greenspan says.
And now Greenspan has inserted himself into the debate.
Without any question, and it isn't his business talking about fiscal policy.
And Kentucky Republican Jim Bunning told Greenspan so himself.
You have been in this town for a long time. Some might say too long.
2 years ago, Greenspan's endorsement helped sell the president's tax cut package. The new tax cut plan was already in some serious trouble. Greenspan's remarks have just made it more serious. Dan?
Anthony Mason, thanks. We have an update tonight in our continuing CBS News investigation of ephedra, a herbal supplement used by millions of Americans as an energy booster. Citing safety concerns, Suffolk County, New York has now banned ephedra sales, the first county in the nation to do so. Critics say ephedra has caused deaths, heart attacks, and strokes, a charge the industry denies. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, she deliberately ran over and killed her unfaithful husband with a 2-ton Mercedes. A jury is now deciding if it was murder.
Hey, I guess somebody's had a busy day today. Well, make sure back pain doesn't cramp your schedule tomorrow. Grab a Thermacare air-activated heat wrap before you hit the sack. It gets warm and stays warm, deeply relaxing tight muscles. So circulation flows in, helping pain flow out. So, by the next day, you're moving and grooving. Oh yeah, all day long. Thermacare heat wraps. Find them in the pain reliever aisle.
If you stop hormone replacement therapy, would your bones be protected? Significant bone loss can occur within the first year of stopping hormone replacement therapy. Talk to your doctor about a bone density test. It's quick and painless and the best way to measure the health of your bones. And fortunately, there are once-weekly hormone-free treatments that can actually help reverse bone loss. Why wait? It's a simple test. Ask your doctor about a bone density test.
Unlike Wall Street, your life doesn't stop every day at 4. Your hopes and dreams go beyond stocks and bonds. At Merrill Lynch, our financial advisors know your financial life goes beyond Wall Street. So their advice goes further too. Introducing Total Merrill. We see your financial life in total.
When dry, itchy skin is unbearable, where do you go for relief? Introducing Lanacane Body Lotion. So effective, it's in the itch care aisle. It's medicated to relieve the cause of dry, itchy skin. Combined with skin-soothing vitamins, this is the Lanacaine for all over the body. It helps heal itch-causing dryness, bringing relief that lasts and lasts, even through a long winter's nap. Lanacaine Body Lotion. So effective, it's in the itch care aisle.
Powerful new Silverado is here. Still available with the 340 horse Vortec V8.
Coming up on News Channel 5 at 6, for the first time, Governor Bredesen is suggesting TennCare may be too expensive and may have to be replaced. The story at 6.
This round in the Battle of the Sexes golf division is set for May in Fort Worth, Texas. Annika Sorenstam will play in the Colonial Golf Tournament, the first woman in 58 years to take on the top men in the game from the longer men's tees. In the past 2 seasons, playing among women and from the shorter women's tees, Sorenstam topped even Tiger Woods in the number of tournaments won. We end tonight with a high-profile murder case in Texas that has now gone to the jury. CBS's Lee Cowan is covering the trial of a woman who killed her husband with a $70,000 automobile.
It's a tawdry Texas tale of a woman scorned and a cheating husband, one that ended with his body under the wheels of his wife's Mercedes. It has all the ingredients of a paperback novel.
It's the kind of scene that is so dramatic, so unbelievable, that it's something like out of a bad film noir movie.
Good luck, Clara. Clara Harris, a successful Houston dentist, is accused of mowing down her husband David with her Mercedes after catching him with another woman. His violent end caught on amateur video. Prosecutors say Harris not only hit him once, but then continued to drive over his body at least 3 times in a fit of jealous rage.
A man is cheating on you. You do what every other woman in this county does. Take him to the cleaners, and you can make him wish he were dead, but you don't get to kill him.
From the beginning, Harris, then a blonde, claimed it was all an accident, tearfully describing how she only meant to slam into the SUV belonging to her husband's mistress.
What we don't have is damage to the Mercedes in the front of the car. And don't you know, if you wanted to hit somebody and nail them, that you'd hit them dead on?
Either way, the defense claims her rage was justified, and it was what any wife would experience trying to save a dying marriage.
It is the perfect suburban world, and out of that world has come this kind of madness that no one has really been able to understand.
A kind of madness that made for great fodder for Texas water coolers over the last several weeks. An appealing distraction from talk of war and terror that will end just as soon as this trial does. Lee Cowan, CBS News, Houston.
And that's part of our world. But CBS News has a lot more for you tonight, beginning at 8 Central, with 60 Minutes too. A remarkable look at the process of assisted suicide as this man takes his own life. Plus, can a human swim a mile in the coldest water on Earth? You'll see her try.
Then on 48 Hours Investigates, when a young woman falls to her death from a hotel balcony, her married boss admits they went too far. But was it murder?
48 Hours Investigates right after 60 Minutes too. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. I'll be back at 8 Central on 60 Minutes too.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com. AOL keyword CBS News. A new way to treat hot flashes. A Health Watch report tomorrow. Experience CBS News.